kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up, push the money pile up. I'ma get rich with life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast, where we're interviewing the athletes of the 2024 CrossFit Games. And we have with us none other than the remarkable Bethany Flores. What's going on?
What's up? I love the theme music. There's rock and roll over there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting the longer we go at this, the better we get at every little thing.
It's called refinement. I love it.
Yeah. So we have a person in the comments, Jeffrey Birchfield. Bethany is the first person to truly make me feel the pain of CrossFit.
Good old streamline CrossFit. Yep. Texas first gym I worked at. Lots of pain on the weekends.
This has nothing to do with my notes or anything I was planning on talking about, but when you were a coach back then, like I know as an athlete, you knew the pain cave and you went to it often.
Yeah.
As a coach, did that bleed in at all when you were
programming?
Okay.
I was a stickler. I was really mean. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, and I'm glad I'm not coaching right now because I don't feel like I'm the best coach in the world, but I was a stickler for form. I would make them suffer, and then I don't know, they volunteered on the weekends. I would do like long, crazy hero WODs or just like made up Bethany WODs on the weekends, and people would volunteer their time and their suffering, and they would sweat it out with me on the weekends. It was a lot of fun. Those were the good times.
Does it seem like eons ago at this point?
It does. I actually ended up coaching Randy and I coached a kids class like 2 weekends ago or 2 weeks ago. And I was like, man, I haven't coached a class in like 4 years. I was like, where did the time go? Time really does fly. They do say that. And I was like, wow, am I getting old?
I'm always going to be older. So
that's good.
Yeah, see, I'm here just to protect you.
Perfect. Just tell me how it is up there in the older ages.
So it's funny because before I did this, I coached.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, it's almost like it's another life for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it's gone that long ago, and it's only been 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Crazy. Jeffrey Burfield does say, even though you gave the pain, it was the best.
If you say so. I look back at the workouts that I'd program. I'm like, man, we're all just crazy people doing crazy stuff.
Well, as you've matured and you look back at those times, it's obvious from looking at your Instagram, you have changed your philosophy on the workouts you do yourself today.
Yes. Multiple reasons for that, for sure. I feel like a big one is Randy coming into my life and being a part of my life the last couple of years. Well, we've been together almost 5, but he's all about logic and having a lot of wisdom and discernment and doing things for a reason instead of just doing things to do things. And that's been really helpful for just like refining my training. And then I've been forced into it a little bit too, right? With my back and my injuries and stuff, and being pulled out for a full season. And a lot of things have been put in perspective. And it's been a really tough journey, but it's gotten me to this point of advocating for myself more, which hopefully will involve longevity in the sport.
Yeah, there's definitely a wisdom to what you're doing now, which is it's cool to see. And it's not just you. The sport's not old enough to like learn its lesson yet. So you look at people like Rich Froning and Dan Bailey, and they talk now about how they just beat themselves up and they're paying for it today.
Mm-hmm.
And now the newer athletes, there's much more of a plan and what you're trying to attempt. And hopefully it means more for the next generation that they've learned the lessons from you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting too because not only is it like a physical beatdown, but I think a lot of people are getting mentally and emotionally burnt out, which I definitely experienced in 2022. Um, and so things have to change, right? You have to be able to refine yourself to be able to have longevity in the sport because if you're constantly injured, then I think that leads to burnout, and that's kind of what happened with me is being in constant pain can lead to burnout, emotional burnout, just not having fun anymore, and wanting to quit at the end of the day. So yeah, the sport has to evolve and it has to change to be able to keep up with the times. And I think that it comes from so many different directions, right? Like the programming has to change, um, the games has to change, the events have to change to be able to allow us to do this for a long period of time.
I think most importantly, the season has to change.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of tired of change. It's changed every year for me since 2017.
That probably came off wrong. I think I think the season needs to be shorter. You
Yeah,
guys
yeah, I
need to
agree.
have
Yeah.
a very dedicated off season to
Mhm.
just reset and reflect and
Mhm.
you know what I
Or
mean?
just like options, like I think like keep the season the way it is of having the open quarterfinals, semifinals games, but it should be there should be like this point system that for the games athletes that kind of have earned their way to the games multiple years in a row, like maybe it's an option to do the open and quarterfinals, but I don't know how that system would be and like how fair I mean, it would not be me figuring that out.
Right.
But someone would have to figure it out so that, we do have the option if I'm sick or hurt during that time, it doesn't mean my season is completely done just because I can't do that part because I've earned my way the last 7 years to get to the games, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. I it with all these interviews that Dave's doing, none of this is in my notes, just so you know. And it always happens when you jump on. And I
Oops,
love it.
sorry.
These are my favorite types of conversations.
Oh,
So
good.
he did an interview with Saxon Panchek, and in that it kind of he said, if we split the teams and the individuals to two separate seasons, would you do both?
Mm,
And I think like at the surface really quick, you're going, oh, that's cool. All the best athletes, you'd have them year round, but it's not good for the athletes to
yeah.
be going that hard all year round.
Yeah. I will
And
say this though, that some people can do it. Like they're just healthy, Like I think of someone like Carrie Pierce that rarely did she have deloads and rarely did she get injured, but it's because she didn't abuse her body when she was younger. And she had a lot of good coaches around her that kept her from abusing her body so that she could do that stuff at a high level for extended periods of time. But someone like me, like there's a lot of abuse that I put my body through. And so there's only so much I can do throughout the season. Like I really have to protect my time and what I do.
yeah, it just the other part I hate is that all these off-season events that have done a really good job, you're kind of overlapping them and you're taking away from them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Rogues, the Wadapaloozas, all those people that have been around a long time and have kind of earned the right to have those comps. And
Mm-hmm.
um, Draw Your Dagger made a comment here saying, luckily there are no beatdowns at the games like the games this year, like 1,000 weighted box step ups or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely not. Maybe we'll do another marathon row too on top of that.
Wow. You were part of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. I just can't believe we did that.
That was 18? 18?
Yeah, that's 2018. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of CrossFit though, is like you're doing things in CrossFit that you would never think that you would ever do or was ever possible within you, Like it's just mind blowing to be like, yeah, I rode a marathon. 49,195 meters. Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Because now I get on the rower and it's like, a 2K and you're like, oh, I'm dead. I'm tired. But man, it's crazy. Or like yesterday, I swam like a mile straight in the pool and I was like, I don't know. I don't think that I would do that just on my own, just get in the pool for like 20, 30 minutes and just swim for a mile. Like it's just wild what your body can do.
My college swimming event was the mile.
Oh gosh. Wow. That's a lot of mental fortitude right there. How do you even train for that? Like you
just a lot of swimming, just a lot of swimming.
A lot of long distances. Wow.
I did not stay in college swimming very long.
Yeah.
It just wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. Someone's got to do it.
But we were doing that in 16 minutes.
That's insane. I literally swam a mile yesterday in 27 minutes.
Yeah.
That's insane. So fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Talk about
and you're pushing the whole time. Like it's
yeah.
Yeah. I got to go to the swimming trials this year for the Olympics. And they're even another tier above that kind of stuff. Watching Katie Ledecky do that, so impressive.
It's insane. It's crazy what the human body can do.
Yeah.
Under certain circumstances. Like it's insane.
It is.
So that is the beauty of CrossFit. Not that we're bashing CrossFit whatsoever. Everyone can be refined. We love CrossFit or we wouldn't be doing this, right? But everybody can be refined.
So Dry Your Dagger has the twist for Chad. It's a marathon row buy-in.
With the ruck on during the row? And then buy out marathon run.
Did you hear Tia say that Shane made her run a marathon when Dave leaked that clue?
That was insane. I don't know. Because and that's without training too. Like I know that we're fit, right? But I remember doing, and this is probably before CrossFit, but I just did a half marathon without training. And I just remember getting to the last couple of miles and my hip flexors just freezing up. And then obviously being in pain after that. So I just that's insane. Doing a whole marathon. That's crazy. That is so much God.
Bethany 2021, could you have done it?
If I had to, yes. But I just feel like it's not the cardiovascular part, right? It's just the joints and can those keep up for all the pounding for 26.2 miles? That's a lot of pounding, on hard cement.
I just have this vivid memory of you crushing that semifinal event, the ruck run in the 117-degree heat.
Good times. I wanted to quit the entire time, just so everyone knows.
Okay, good to know.
First lap, I was like, "This is terrible. I want to quit." I literally said that in my head.
Because you didn't look like you wanted to quit one time.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you had the game face on.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, right? I think that's how my mindset works. Is the moment I start showing it's kind of over for me, which is actually something I need to work on because I think you kind of need to do that and then suffer through it to be able to get to that next level or threshold. But I have to keep the game face on. It helps me just get through whatever headspace I'm in with those workouts.
Yeah. So it's funny. Last year before semis, I think we even talked. I did not, in my predictions, I did not have you making the games, and I learned at that semifinal that you never doubt this woman.
Don't doubt Bethany. She's
Don't
gonna
doubt.
She's gonna pull through somehow, some way.
And I went to Pasadena, and we watched you, and you looked awesome.
Oh,
and we got a couple interviews with you during that event, and you said in those interviews if it was like 2 weeks earlier, you may not have had that performance.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
God's plan?
Perfect timing, literally. God's perfect timing on that because, and all of this, like literally like the last 2 years, I just feel like, it's just, I feel like I'm a living, breathing like testimony because the things that I experienced last year and went through and like were able to do on the floor, like does not add up, does not make sense to the training that I did last year and the amount of pain that I was in. Like it was literally a miracle, everything that I went through last year. And it was all just God, working through me. And the same can be said for this year too. Though I feel like I am in a better spot than last year. Like I'm still not 2021 Bethany. Um, and like there's just been so much like perfectly placed timing in this whole thing. And it's hard to even explain, and I hope that I can one day, and that's why I'm like writing everything down. Like I've literally written my story the last 3 years because I'm like, this needs to be told, and I hope that I get to like write a book about all this. But it's literally mind blowing. And even during quarterfinals or before quarterfinals this year, there was about a 2 week span right before quarterfinals where I was in a serious amount of pain to where I couldn't even walk. I was in so much pain. I couldn't even lay on my back because I was in so much pain. Like it's just crazy, like this testimony that I'm just trying to say yes to, even though it doesn't make sense as much as possible.
So last time we talked, we did dive into this a little bit, and your journey with your faith and your journey through recovery and all of that at the same time. And it's all kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
You talked about you're not back to 21 Bethany. How hard is it that 21 Bethany exists while you're on this journey?
There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons with it, right? Because I think it's a gift to know that I can be that fit, and that it kind of just showed me that I'm confirmed on where I'm supposed to be right now in life and like what I'm doing and the career that I'm in. And it just also helped me, like, it showed to me that I like belong on the floor and belonged with all the games athletes, because before that, I really didn't feel like I belonged. Even before that event in semifinals 2021, I was like, gosh, I hope I make it. Literally, that was my headspace. I hope I make it. And so that's the blessing part of it, is like, okay. And I think that there is more to give too. Like, I think that there is a whole nother level of fitness that I didn't even tap into quite yet. But the harder part is like not comparing myself to that version of Bethany right now in my journey, and taking everything as a huge win as it comes. Like even yesterday, I was finally able to squat clean 185 pounds. I haven't done that in a really long time. I got to clean 195 at the games last year, but that was a freaking miracle, and it was real ugly. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is coming up. But I haven't hit that since. And then before that, it had been, a year and a half. So it's just like taking everything in strides and not comparing myself to myself, and not comparing myself to others in their journey. And I think God has allowed me to just like really slow down and really just see all the wins that are happening on a day-to-day basis right now, which I'm really grateful for.
I think that's what makes you so relatable to people who watch the sport, and why I'm such a big fan. We talked last time, like I've had 12 back surgeries. I go through those back pains, and I'm not 2016 Scott anymore. I can't lift the weights that 2016 Scott could lift. I can't do a lot of the things that he could do. And I fight every single day against him, and it's tough. And we talked last time about how faith comes in, and and I try to lean on that so much. But it's hard. It's a hard journey and a hard
Yeah.
lesson.
It's every day. It's like a muscle, right? It can be atrophied just as easily if you don't work with it. And so like it's constantly, for me, it's constantly like doing my devotionals, journaling, like praying. I have like my community of advocates who also believe in God that I can go to and ask for prayer. And it's like it's an everyday thing. And I can tell on the days that I don't do that, it gets atrophied really quickly. So just as much work that goes into the gym, it's just as much work outside of the gym for me in my faith. And like that doesn't stop just because I'm in season, right? Like that stuff is year round and it's 365. And I think some people can look at that and be like, oh my gosh, it's such a heavy burden. And like that's too heavy and too hard to carry. And it's like, yeah, it is on your own. But I don't do this on my own. It's not me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's not me. It's not me.
So like you have a YouTube channel now
Mm-hmm.
and it's awesome.
Thank you.
Is there a plan to go more into like this kind of stuff? Like
Mm-hmm.
the struggle that I think that would be hard to do like mid-season to like talk through these points.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know the emotional toll that might even take on you that you can't afford to have a week or 3 weeks before the games.
Yeah. I have been a little bit like I actually had so I have Lewis Marshall. He's helping film like this whole year. And he was down yesterday doing a full day, just like a day in the life. And we kind of got into the weeds of like the gut issue stuff that I've dealt with for all of my career and even before that. And just kind of getting into the weeds of it's not just a surface level thing, right? Like it comes from trauma, it comes from just not dealing with yourself and taking ownership. And so we kind of got into the weeds a little bit, but I think that there's a lot more to share. And I think the more that I do that, it's good reps because I want to write a book, but I want to speak too. Like I want to do something with speaking. I don't know what it looks like, but I need reps just like I do in the gym. And so it's a good way to like kind of start forming my thoughts on my own YouTube channel of like, okay, I don't know where I'm going with this pathway of talking, but I'm just going to like talk. And then the more that you talk about it, the more a pathway is kind of like formed. So that's kind of my goal with YouTube.
Yeah. And I think you're perfect for that. You're just so relatable. You've been through so much. Others have been through the same things. And I think that's what draws people to you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's talk about semis a little bit, get a little more lighthearted.
Yeah.
You come in, and this year I did not doubt you. I picked you to make it to the games.
Thank you.
And I'm picking you from here until you retire.
Hey, 100% of the time I make it. It's guaranteed so far, right? 7 out of 7.
Yeah. And so, but you start the event with an event that I thought would be really up your alley. I did not know your clean and jerk stuff that you just talked about, like just 185 for the first time in 4 years. But the run, you're always so good on the run.
Yeah, I died.
Were you disappointed in yourself on that one, or was it known with the clean and jerk aspect?
No, I was definitely disappointed. It wasn't even disappointment. It was just like confusion because I knew it was going to be a hard workout because of the clean and jerks for me and just like my capacity for that. And that just adds a whole nother element of like the cardiovascular side is, multiple reps of clean and jerks. So I knew it was going to be hard, but my body just kind of like shut down after like the second or the third round of the run. And it was just kind of like this weird outer body experience. And I kind of felt like the best way to describe it is Annie Thorisdottir 2016 Murph, where she like stopped and was like falling off the rail. That's kind of how I felt. I almost stopped because I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was breathing through a straw. It was like every step. And then my body was like full of lactic acid. And then like afterward, I was like blacking out. And I was like, I don't know why that happened. I think it was multiple things. Like, I think there is the fitness capacity for sure, but I think it was just like this one-off weird thing that happened. So, and we have an idea of where it could have come from. We think it was some supplements I was taking. I was taking beetroot powder and Laird's superfood. It's like
Yeah,
like
I've heard of it.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like performance mushrooms for like it's like your mental side. I was taking those, and I've been taking them pretty consistently in training and not having any problems. But one of the training think tank guys was like, "Well, I take those too pretty regularly, but every time I take them during competitions, it does the opposite for me. So like almost it gets like your vagus nerve to start working, which is your relaxation nerve. So I think my body was actually like in this battle with itself. So I kind of like took those out the rest of the weekend and I started feeling better. But I don't think it's like one thing to blame. I don't think I've been filtering lactic acid as well, stuff like that. So anyways, it was a really crazy experience and I hope to never experience that ever again because it was scary.
So I have a question for you. You said earlier when we talked about the 21 ruck run at West Coast Classic, and then that you wanted to quit. Then you said on this one you wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Has competition, Bethany, ever stopped?
No.
You've always,
I knew I wasn't going to, but yeah.
Yeah, you've always
But
been
this
able
one was
to.
definitely the one where I was like, because it was more of a physical thing that was going on. It wasn't just mental. It was physically, like I couldn't move my legs and I couldn't breathe. I was like contemplating stopping because I was like, is my body just gonna completely like black out and shut down? Like, but yeah, have I ever stopped? No, but it was crazy.
So once that's over, you have to climb the stairs to get out of the stadium, right?
Yeah, that was hard. I was just like, keep it together. But I like
I've
can
never
barely
been
breathe.
there, so but just from pictures, I thought you had to enter and exit up and down the stairs. Oh
Yeah. So that was pretty rough. I was like, I am not okay right now. I'm not okay. But it got better. We trended in the right direction after that.
Yeah, then you surprised me again at the second event because an 11th with a pretty heavy front squat.
That was really heavy for me.
I was really happy with your performance there.
Thank you.
And then you go into the rope climb event and get a fourth.
Yeah, I was happy with that. I was actually I wanted to go harder on that one, but my body was still, I think, coming out of like whatever it was coming out of from event one on day one. But I was still happy with that one because that's the bike. I love the bike. We love the bike. Not a lot of people do. So anytime I see the bike, I was like, great, let's go.
And then the you go into Sunday in pretty good shape. Because you open with a fourth, and then you have just the two events left. And I wanted to talk about the snatch ladder. And this was really where, in my mind, coming into this, I was like, the comparison between 21 Bethany and today's Bethany. That snatch ladder you did in 21. Did you ever compare yourself, or did you know, like, this is something that I am not anymore, and I have to approach it differently?
I knew in the back of my mind, like, I can hit all those weights. It was just a matter of like timing with everything. Like literally just had to like alignment had to happen. Like the stars had to align for that workout. And like I knew when that workout got announced, my headspace was, if I can finish this workout, I'm going to the games. If I don't finish the workout, then I'm not going. Like that was the deciding factor basically of the weekend. But I didn't allow that to be like the main thought in my head. I was just like, you just need to go out there and do what you need, do what you know to do. And that's where like the perfect timing of like all of my training kind of aligned because I had just hit 175 like the week before. And the last time I had hit 175 was at semifinals last year. And that was a miracle in itself. But it was just like the perfect timing that, and I think I have to give credit to Randy on that because he really helped me with like figuring out weights through the last couple of weeks before semifinals leading up to that event. And I was like lifting from blocks and I don't know. It was just beautiful. It was perfect. It was just the way it was supposed to be. And I was so grateful for that moment.
Yeah, I saw you post on Instagram, like it was a week out that you had run through it and hit all the weights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that had to be such a confidence boost going
Yes.
in. Because I know
I needed that.
the year before you didn't have the success going in.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So speaking of Randy,
Mm-hmm.
you guys have been married now a couple years?
Almost 2 years. It'll be, I think our anniversary is August 27th. So it'll be 2.
So he has a very busy, important job in the sports world.
Yes, very.
His team is always on ESPN, like every day because of their name and who they are. They say CrossFitters are selfish. Is it good that he's as busy as you are at the same times?
Yeah, I think so. I think our seasons line up perfectly to where we both have downtime in August, which is nice. But yeah, I think it's good, and he understands too. Like I understand him, and he understands me. So it's just really just a well-oiled, perfectly matched relationship.
Yeah. I can't even imagine doing what he does. I watch Get Up every
I know.
morning to watch other sports other than CrossFit just to kind of reset my day. And the Lakers are on there every stinking day.
Yes, they are under a microscope at all times.
Does he ever talk about, like, is his goal to stay in that field for forever?
I think so. Like I wouldn't say forever, but it's definitely a goal of his to become a head strength and conditioning coach in the NBA. And so he definitely wants to fulfill that. And if he can get like a championship too with that, that would be, yeah, like kind of like check the box for him. I think he wants to stay in like the strength and conditioning world for the rest of his life and career as long as he wants to. But we've talked about like what it looks like once there's a family and like kids and the changes that could have to happen with that because, you know, right now he's traveling every time they travel for the games, and it's 88 games. It's 40 of them are traveling, and it's busy. And so it could look different with kids, but we haven't gotten there yet, so we don't know how to, manage that quite yet. But it is definitely in discussion of what that's going to look like once there's kids.
Do the players still come around in the off season? Like they're in the off season right now. So is he working every day? The hours are just smaller.
Yes, exactly. I think the only difference is he's just not traveling, but he's just as busy on the off season because that's like the time where the guys can make the most, I guess, changes to their bodies and get the most consistent training in is during the off season. So a lot of his guys will come in during this time and train, 3 to 4 times a week. And hopefully make some gains in the areas that they need to and strengthen things up and a lot of prevention from injury. So busy time for him as well.
As you're getting ready for the games, does he have more time to spend with you and getting you ready for the games because it is their off season?
Yes. Like he definitely has the advantage of, training the guys in the morning and then coming with me to the gym to either, watch me a little bit or train with me, which is nice. Though it's a suffer fest for him. He's like, oh, I hate doing all the CrossFit stuff. He likes doing like 1 or 2 pieces, not like a full day of training, but I appreciate it. And he knows that. So he does it for that. But yeah, I definitely get more eyes on me. He can like see me lift and just help me protect my own body in the gym, which is nice.
Jeffrey again. Randy is such a good dude.
Yeah, he's amazing.
It's really cool because you can tell that you guys have a really good relationship when I watch your YouTube videos and stuff, and that he's always there and very supportive. And I kept running into him at the games last year as he was like the gopher for you. Like he would be sprinting from one field to another. And it was really fun.
No off time for him. He's like, my only vacation is going to the games and I have to work. I'm like, sorry.
Speaking of vacation, you're going back home, right? Like,
yeah.
Texas.
Good old Texas. Yeah. I grew up in Austin, Texas, or we both did. Me and Randy did. Yeah. So it's about a 4-hour drive from Dallas.
A lot of family coming in?
Yeah, I hope so. We are in the process of trying to find tickets for them. So if we can all find tickets for my whole bunch of family, because it's like 10 tickets, then they are all going to go and support me.
That's great. And they can all go to the Friday night one.
Oh, is it free?
It is.
Oh, nice.
And it's double the size of the arena. So it's like 20,000 people can get in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which would be, I think, the biggest crowd ever at a CrossFit event if it fills.
That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. I hope they do something super cool because of that.
Yeah, me too.
Who is better at burpees, you or Randy?
Randy. He's so fast. It's insane how fast. Like longevity, like you want to talk about duration of burpees? Me. But like sprinting, Randy's the man. He is so fast. I'm like, how are you so fast? He's so tall too.
Yeah. I'm not even in the running on that one. So just to finish up semifinals, the last event going in, were you confident? Because there seemed to be like a pretty big separation between like the last spot and the people fighting for the last spot. Did you feel confident going in?
Honestly, I didn't know where my placement was because I didn't really look this year on the leaderboard. So I really was like, I need to not mess this one up. And then I felt like I messed it up in the middle of the workout. So I actually wasn't very confident when I was standing there waiting for my name to be called. So it was actually kind of like, I mean, there was tears after that because it was like a sense of relief of like, okay, I did enough. But yeah, I was not confident after that workout because it wasn't a great showing for me.
Yeah, from a spectator's point of view, it was programmed really beautifully because that lunge either ate people up or people thrived, and there was a clear delineation, and the leaderboard shook up a lot on that event. But you ended up in 11th, which isn't that horrible compared to some other breakdowns during that event.
Yeah. I was thankful because I really thought, I was like, man, that was probably like a 30th finish for me when I got done. Just because like I fell apart on the ring muscle ups and then the lunges too. Like I knew that I wasn't going to hold on to the lunges the entire time because it's just a heavy weight for me right now. But I was just hoping to make it through. And luckily I did, but I almost dropped it on that last step. I had to like stand up so slow because it was just fingertips at that point. And I knew if I stood up fast, it was just going to be over for me and I'd have to go back all the way, which happened to a lot of people. But yeah, I was like, whew, once they called my name because I wasn't so sure.
I think Boz programmed that one. And the fact that so many people dropped on the very last step.
Heartbreaking.
Like, my goodness.
Yeah, that was a heartbreak.
So let's talk about going into the games. One, I thoroughly enjoyed your interview with Dave. I love the way you kept pushing back on him. And he was taking it like a champ. I think it's actually been good for us to get to know Dave a little more. I think for the first time ever, he's kind of revealing some things about himself.
Yeah, I'm glad he's doing this.
Yeah. Proud father, loves bragging on his daughter's cross-country times. And I think that's really cool. But we know 2 games events at this point. We know Chad.
And the running and swimming.
And it's event 7 right before the cut. And then we know the run swim. Have you seen
Kind of. We don't know exactly what it's going to be.
and there's a lot of speculation that it's at a certain lake. There is a running path to a dock that is 3.5 miles and a 500-meter swim from that dock to the finish. If it all played out. So that would be exactly 4 miles.
All right. Interesting.
The latest news, though, is, and this was from the Barbell Spin, a listener went out and ran it and said encountered a lot of snakes.
Ooh.
And there are possible alligators in the lake.
Oh, no. Let's not do that.
Now, supposedly they're just small alligators, not the big ones. Does that affect how you're going to take the event?
I guess it'll help us swim faster. I just feel like, for me, like, there's always a lot of people already out there, like the lifeguards and stuff. So I feel like it'll scare away any type of, creatures out there. So personally, for me, I'm not too worried about that. I've swam in a lot of lakes over the years, and I've never, knock on wood, encountered anything. And through like the triathlons I've done. But I feel like if you're just swimming by yourself with nobody out there, then yeah, there's probably like a higher likelihood of something like that happening. But there's going to be so many people in the water that I feel like it'll just scare off all the creatures around. And so I'm not too worried.
I used to live in northern Florida, and there was a swimming hole, lake, river, whatever, that had alligators. And the lifeguards would literally take a piece of plywood and smack it on the water when the alligators would start swimming toward the swimming area. And it would make the alligators turn around and go away.
Oh, okay.
So I don't, I don't know how scientific that was, or just,
well, we're going to find out.
Yeah. So,
I just think that this year is just going to be a huge learning curve. It is like, that's just what happens when you go to a different venue. Like, it's just I think a lot of things were learned the first year at Madison, of things to do, what not to do. But also it's just like, you can't predict Mother Nature too, on top of everything. Like the first year in Madison, I remember it was freezing. It was so cold that one day. It was so random. So you just like can't predict everything that's going to happen. And then the lake too, like ended up getting nasty over the course of the years, but it was fine some years. So, we signed up for this stuff. So we just got to suck it up and just do it and not complain at the end of the day. We're getting paid.
I think we talked about it on one of the other episodes. The first time I ever saw you in person, it was the first time I volunteered for the games, and and that was the snow on the obstacle course. And you guys, all of you guys were out there without, like, you were no coats, no
one was
around
prepared.
just trying to stay warm.
Yeah, we're just all huddling together like this.
Yeah,
it looked really pitiful.
And it was August.
Yeah, so random. That was so random. No one could have predicted that. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, about the swim. The last thing is, I'm more comfortable with the alligators than I am the snakes.
I don't like the snakes.
I'm deathly afraid of the snakes.
Yeah, they're fast.
Now the snakes,
I think once again,
land snakes, not water snakes.
Yeah, that's true. But you don't know, there could be some in the water too.
Could be.
But I think once again, like even on the paths, like there's gonna be a lot of people out there and volunteers that'll kind of scare away the snakes. So, because at the end of the day, like the animals are more scared of us than we are of them. Like we're scared of them, but they're scared of us.
I like the logic.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine, whatever happens.
It's made me question whether I'm going to go watch the run.
But go near the water.
The thing is right. Like if there's a lot of people there, the animals will be in hiding.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, cool. So, so going into this year, do you have an expectation for the games? Do you just want to make it the whole way through the week? Do you what is Bethany's goal for the games this year?
There's a lot of levels to that. A lot of levels. I think my ultimate goal is I want to be on the podium. it's just going to be a matter of like stars aligning, body feeling good, having consistent training, the workouts in my favor, you know, the list goes on. The list goes on. But at the end of the day, like for me, it's just really important to, you know, stay healthy throughout the entire weekend and enjoy the process of the games because it goes quickly. But also, this is my 7th year, and I think a lot of people can start to not have as much fun as the years go on. And so for me, it's just really important to enjoy it. And I love people. And so it's important for me to enjoy the experience with the other athletes. And just, yeah, I think the biggest word is enjoyment. But I have a word every year that I choose. And this year was fierce. And I think fierce can go into so many different avenues, right? Like it can be fierce in the gym, fierce in training, fierce in competing. But just like fearing less of the pain that I can be in. Because I think when that happens, then the true full Bethany comes out in competitions. And I think the more consistent training that I have, the more I can be fierce on the competition floor and like fear less. And so that's my ultimate goal is to fear less on the competition floor and just kind of go for things if and when it's the right timing for me.
You've kind of made me take an aback because last year's Bethany wouldn't have said podium.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting that your mind is to a place where, yeah, it may take the stars to align and a really good programming, but that it is possible. And that's exciting to hear from you.
Yeah, I definitely think it's in the cards. Like I have the potential to be on the podium. It's just a matter of, is it going to happen? You know, I think there's a lot of us athletes that can say that, right? I think there's like a pool of us that can say like, yeah, podium is definitely in the cards, but is it going to happen? Let's see, you know, let the best women win. But that is an ultimate goal of mine, is to be on the podium. And no, I wouldn't even have said that in like 2021, you know? But I do believe it's in the deck of cards. And you know, on the other side of that, it's okay if it doesn't happen. It's not going to change who I am or my self-worth, my self-confidence and self-esteem. It's just a goal that I feel like is reachable, you know? So, and that's the thing, like people are going to achieve that. And then they're going to realize that they're like, oh, that's it. You know, like, oh, it's not as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be. So I think having that in the back of my mindset of like, yes, have goals. It's okay to have goals of what you want to happen in your life, but you also need to realize that like your self-worth and your self-confidence is not found in that goal. It's found in like how you treat other people, the journey in itself. An acronym that I use is BEAST mode. So it's BEAST, which is your body language, your effort, your attitude, your self-talk, and being a team player. Those are all things that you can control, right? And so that's like my goal throughout the season and throughout competitions is like control that part and then just allow the other things to happen if it's meant to be. So yeah, go on the podium, 100%.
I like
Is it
that.
going to happen? We'll see.
A lot of people say, I just want to be the best version of me I can be, but you define it with that acronym. It's actually, there are measurable pieces that you want to hit. And that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just so you know, in 21, I did pick you for the podium.
Oh, thank you.
Because your performance at West Coast Classic that year, other than Tia and early Annie Thorstadter, was one of the single greatest performances I've ever watched in CrossFit.
Wow. Thank you.
So I actually picked you. I was so bummed when everything happened the way it did. And we don't need to rehash that. We've done it a couple times.
Yeah. It had to happen.
Yeah.
It really had to happen for me. Like I needed to get to the bottom of myself with a lot of things. So Had to happen.
I know that year, and this wasn't planned, but you and Carrie were really tight.
Mhm.
Are you guys still friends?
Yeah, for sure. We we don't stay as in contact, as maybe we did when we lived in the same city, but like, yeah, did we talk to each other? And for sure. She is amazing and always holds a very special place in my heart. Like I love her so much. So
Yeah.
we
I
love Carrie.
love both her
We
and
miss Carrie. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're great. That's such a great couple. They're gonna make such cute kids. I'm excited.
yeah. Well, Bethany, as always, it's always such a joy having you on. I'll be in Fort
Thank you.
Worth. We'll be there rooting you on, and
Awesome.
hope you go beast mode.
Yeah, let's get fierce. Let's get fierce. Let's the biggest thing is the next couple of weeks continue to have consistent training, which I'm very grateful. The last couple of weeks has been very consistent for me. And that's going to be a very important part of like being able to do it on the floor is just being consistent and staying healthy. So we got a couple more weeks. We're going to pray, cross our fingers, be confident in that, and then, see what happens on the floor.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody in the chat for being here. Thank you, Bethany, for taking the time out. And we'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.